Hey, good morning. This is with. I tried reaching out to you a couple weeks back, but I just wanted to quickly introduce myself and see if you, by any chance, would be the right person to discuss outsourcing your IT solutions.
I would be the right person.
Okay, great. Have you outsourced before?
Um, well, outsourcing is a broad term, so if you
Yeah,
want to be more specific on your intent, then I will tell you whether we need to talk or not.
got it. Well, I'm not really sure if we can help you yet because what we do is pretty broad as well. We work from developing applications or even just refining those all the way to cloud integration and everything else in between. Obviously, we'll have to have a more technical conversation to see if we're a good fit, but do you think you'll be open to that?
It's always needs based.
Mm-hmm.
So usually what I do is I understand the vendor and what their
Yeah,
capabilities might be, and
right.
then put it in a folder. And then when I have a need to get some external development, or I have a need to, find somebody with a skill or expertise to help us with a project,
Yeah.
uh, then I go through my folder and I see who to call.
At this moment, there hasn't been any projects that you consider maybe outsourcing or anything over the horizon?
There's nothing that I'm dialing a bunch of people trying to figure out who can help me with something at this point.
I see. So, but if you were to have one thing, what do you think it would be that, we could
Every,
have a more sophisticated?
every day changes, right?
Yeah.
So why don't you, I don't know if you sent me an email, you're more than welcome to send me an email
Mhm.
and outline your company and what the scope of what it is you do, and then I'll review
Yeah.
that. And if I have a reason to give you a call back right away, I will. Otherwise, I'll
Okay.
put it in the folder.
Interesting. Is there any way that we could make sense of maybe hopping on a call with my director to see if we can just be a fit within the first like 3 to 5 minutes of the call and then kind of expedite the whole process?
I don't have any software development needs that I need to outsource right now.
I see. Okay. Awesome. Well, then I appreciate finally speaking with you. I hope you have a blessed weekend, and I'll stay in touch.
Here are three very small and easy to implement changes that would immediately transform his cold calling efforts. And the first is to focus more on selling the meeting. About 90% of the cold calls that I listen to can be fixed with this one tip. And that is because most salespeople, when they're talking to prospects, either on cold calls or in cold emails, they focus primarily on selling the product. For example, if we look at a salesperson that sells web design services, he or she may call or email a prospect and ask questions like, are you looking to redo your website? Or do you need a new website? Which, if you sell web design services, those sound like good questions to ask. The problem with those questions is that they're more aligned with the goal of trying to sell the product. The reason why that's not optimum is that we can focus more on the goal of just trying to sell the next step in the sales process, which is getting the prospect to agree more to a conversation in the form of an appointment or an extended cold call or a meeting. Now, this salesperson actually was heading in that direction by mentioning we'll have to have more of a technical conversation to see if we're a good fit and try to ask the prospect if he was interested in hopping on a call with his director. The problem with both of these is that he was closing for a call to sell the product. And we're not selling a conversation to sell the product, we're selling a conversation to simply talk more. If we go back to the web design example, if you're a salesperson and you work with lots of companies to help them to improve their website, then you have a lot of knowledge about websites. And the person you're talking to is a business and they have a website. So you have a lot to talk about. You can talk about websites and what makes websites good, examples of other websites that you've improved, and you can talk about the prospect's website and maybe some suggestions for things they could improve. All of that is a conversation that can be well before the discussion of this is what I sell, do you need what I sell? Also, if we look at the questions that he asked, the questions that he asked were more on selling the product than selling the meeting. Are there any projects you're considering outsourcing? If you were to outsource one project, what would it be? These questions are aligned with selling the product, not selling the meeting. So definitely room for improvement. And that brings us to the second area, which is to improve his questions. I personally believe the best salesperson is the one that asks the best questions. You could work for the best company and have the best product, but if you don't ask good questions, you're not going to be able to make that connection to establish the conversation and find opportunities and close the deal. And I'm going to show you exact examples of questions for this product and service. And in order to create those, I went through our sales message brainstorming process, because step 5 in that process drives towards creating an optimum set of questions to ask. And I went through this process for software development services. And again, step 5 creates what we refer to as pain questions and current state questions. And so pain questions help us to identify if the prospect has any of the challenges in the area where we have something to offer. So what we want to do is we want to ask questions to see if everything is perfect. And if everything's not perfect, then that creates a justification for talking more. Not necessarily a justification for selling the services, but a justification for talking more. And then we can close for talking more, setting the appointment, scheduling the meeting. How often do you have software development projects that aren't progressing fast enough? How happy are you with the quality of code that your developers are creating? Have you ever needed a software developer with a particular skill set that you did not have on your team? How important is it to decrease your software development costs? These are the areas that we can help. So we want to find out, is he good, great, or not good in these areas? And the best way to find that out is by asking questions. In addition to pain questions, we can ask current state questions. These are questions that try to figure out what is the prospect currently doing in the area where we have something to offer. Do you currently have software development projects? Are you using in-house or outsourced developers? How's everything going with your current developers and projects? How many developers do you have? How many applications are you managing? Are you working with mobile apps? What type of programming languages? When was the last time you considered making changes in this area? Are you the right person to discuss this with? So hopefully you can see how the mixture of pain questions and current state questions could completely transform the cold call we just listened to. And the third area is to improve his responses to objections. So he faced a couple different objections on this call with some version of, we're not making any changes, or we don't really need what you sell today. And I'm going to show you a couple options for responding to that. And the way we respond to this objection is the same response we can use for all of these objections of, I'm not interested, we don't have budget, we use someone else. All of these objections are basically some version of, I don't want or need what you sell today. And he also faced the objection of, just send me an email with your information. And when he got the objection of, I don't need what you sell today, his first response to that was, are there any projects you considered outsourcing or anything on the horizon? This response is in more of a direction of trying to overcome the objection. Another option you have is that you could respond to this objection with your pain questions. He says, I don't need any additional developers today. Okay, I understand. Well, how happy are you with the quality of code that your current developers are creating? Or another option is, okay, well, have you ever needed a developer with a particular skill set that you did not have on the team? And what you're doing here is you're using a pain question to deflect the objection, keep the conversation going, and potentially find something that's not working well. And then you can use that answer as a justification for closing the prospect on talking more. In an exact same way, you could respond with your current state question. So the prospect says, we don't have a need for any additional software developers right now. Okay, I understand. How many applications are you currently managing? Or, okay, I understand. Are you currently doing development any mobile apps? What type of programming languages are you working with? And so these questions are used in the exact same way. You ask the question to keep the conversation going, find out more information. And towards the end of the call, the prospect says, just send me your information. I'll hang on to it. And if a need comes up, I'll reach out to you. And I can appreciate his response to this. Instead of just complying and saying, okay, I'll send you an email, he still tried to close for the appointment, and that is going in the right direction. The only concern I have with his response was that he tried to close for an appointment where he would bring his director on the call to try to sell the services, and the prospect already said, I don't need what you're selling. So a small modification we can do to the response that he used was, instead of selling the meeting to talk to the director to see if they're a fit, let's sell the meeting to just talk. If you're the web design company, let's sell a meeting to just talk about websites. We are experts in web design. You have a website. We have a lot to talk about. You don't have to buy anything from me after our conversation, but let's have that conversation. So then when you are ready to make a change, you can know some of the options that are available for your website, and you can keep us in mind. So a response for this salesperson to the send me your information, I can certainly do that. Listen, I want you to know I'm not looking to sign you guys up or sell you anything. I understand you you don't have any software development needs today. I'm just looking to open the dialogue between our two organizations. I'd like to learn a little bit more about you, and I can share some information about us. That way, when you do have a software development need that comes up, you can know who we are and how we can help, and then you can reach back out to us. Is that fair? So as you can see, by creating a sales message, that created good questions to ask during the cold call. It also created objection responses for us. This sales message creates these sets of bullet points, and those bullet points create what we refer to as building blocks, and you can then use those building blocks to create an entire cold call script, to create an appointment script. I showed you how the questions give us very good responses to some of the most common and challenging objections. We can use those blocks to create email campaigns, voicemail messages, and a lot more. And that process of creating your sales message to create those building blocks is actually how the software of Sales Scripter works. There's an area of Sales Scripter called the Sales Message Builder. And so the software takes you through the same steps of brainstorming the value that the product or service has to offer, the pain points, and coming up with good questions to ask. And once you go through those steps, the software has all of those bullet points to create building blocks, and then mixes and matches those building blocks to provide a full library of sales scripts, email templates, voicemail scripts, and more. So here is a cold call script value intro filled in with our sales message for software development services. So here are all the building blocks on the left side, our value proposition, our pain questions, our current state questions. And to show you what the tips that I provided would actually look like on a cold call, I can show you by going through the call script with an AI version of a prospect.
Hello, this is Mary.
Hey, Mary, this is Michael Halper calling from Software Developers, Inc. Have I caught you in the middle of anything?
It depends. What are you calling about?
Well, the reason for my call is we help businesses to improve the speed of their software development projects.
Oh, I see.
If I could ask you real quick, how often do you have software development projects that aren't progressing as fast as you would like?
I am not sure.
Okay, how happy are you with the quality of code that your developers are writing?
Not very happy.
Well, that's why I'm reaching out, because I'm with an agency. We provide software development services, have a full team of experienced developers.
We do not have any budget right now.
Hey, I understand. Well, how important is it for you to decrease your software development costs?
It is an issue.
Well, that's why I'm reaching out, because we're able to decrease software development costs for most of our clients. But I've called you out of the blue here. I'm not sure if this is the best time to discuss this. Are you available for a brief call to learn more about you and share some examples of how we've helped businesses to decrease their development costs?
Yes, I am available.
So hopefully there's a tip or two in there that helps you to improve your cold calling efforts. If you want more information, the best place to go is salesscripter.com. Thanks for being here. Look forward to seeing you on the next video. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.